go with fentanyl because ah and then good news, Mick Foley parts ways with the WWE due to the company's relationship with Trump. I don't know if you saw that.
Who?
Mick Foley, the
Oh,
wrestler.
I don't know. I don't know who that is.
Yep, I just saw that. Johnson says there will be no House vote on. Okay, so all right,
Good luck.
folks. You join me in mid conversation with Allison because uh we I just I was like, Allison, where do you want to start? And I think top of the head I gave four just stories, and then she said, well, what about this stupid shit that they did yesterday? I'm like, oh yeah, that one. And then I said, oh yeah, how about this one? So there's like six things from this chaotic, ridiculous, incompetent, fragile, corrupt, and white supremacist Trump administration. But the heavens have parted and given us a gift, and the timing is just exquisite. Oh, Allison, maybe Christmas came early for me, the Muslim, and you, the agnostic Christian atheist. I've never asked.
I'm a recovering Catholic,
Oh,
agnostic
the
slash
recovering
atheist.
Catholic. So there you go. Let's talk about this. Oh, I love these people. They're so petty. They're so vain. They're so reckless. They can't just shut your mouth. And they say, no, we must tweet out the supervillain plot. The Vanity Fair profile of Susie Wiles. Allison, have you seen some of these quotes? Have you seen some of this juice? Have you seen some of this dirt? Who's that? Oh,
That's me.
oh, that's awesome. With the skirt, that's dope. When was that?
That was at the Casbah maybe 20 years ago. We wore Catholic school. I was like, let's wear my old Catholic school uniform for my band. So yeah, Susie Wiles. Okay, so I've been having conversations with people all morning. Was she trying to get fired? Are they gonna fire her? All of these like instant defense tweets of Susie Wiles from the White House. Um, and some people are like, that means she's gonna get fired. I don't think there's a plan here, much like Susie Wiles' 11 interviews on tape kind of show us that
On tape.
it's just chaos and nobody really knows what's going on. I mean, there's so many things to point out here with the retribution tour. She's like, well, that was supposed to end at 90 days, and he's not really doing a retribution thing against his enemies. And they're like, well, what about Letitia James? And she's like, okay, maybe her. Like, it's just chaos. I think it's indicative of what goes on behind the scenes at this White House. There's a lot of farting and a lot of yelling and a lot of chaos, and nobody really knows what's going on, and nobody can decide whether they're mad at Susie Wiles or angry at us for taking her out of context. I think the chaos of the article speaks to the chaos of the administration.
Let's see. Question. JD Vance is giving a presser. This was about an hour ago. Susie Wiles referred to you as a quote conspiracy theorist and your transformation into a Trump supporter as a quote act of political expediency. Your response, JD Vance. Sometimes I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I only believe in the conspiracy theories that are true. That was an hour ago.
Well, didn't he say he if he had to make up stories when talking about eating the cats and eating the dogs, he said if he had to make up stories, he would. Like, I mean,
for those who don't know, so there's a Vanity Fair profile that just came out, two parts, and it's not just with Susie Wiles, even though she's the centerpiece of it. Like Allison said, she's been interviewed on tape numerous times going back the past year. But there's vanity shots of the of this. I rarely laugh out loud. They took these vanity shots, and Vanity Fair. Listen, I think Vanity Fair is trying to make amends for hiring Olivia Nuzzi and then firing Olivia Nuzzi for failing up in life. She was a reporter who had the affair with RFK as she was covering him and didn't mention it. And then the mess that was her boyfriend Ryan Lizza, who's doing these telenovelas on Substack. and said, "Oh yeah, she was also covering Sanford and allegedly had an affair with Sanford." And then Vanity Fair says, "You should fail up, and we'll give you a job." And they did a puff piece on her book that sold less copies than the amount of cases of measles that there are in South Carolina. And so I think Vanity Fair, if you've seen these photos, Allison, I think they're trying to make amends because every single photo is Susie Wiles looks like a deer in headlights. JD Vance is the close up where it looks like he's farting. I'm looking at this right now.
You missed my close up. Just got real close to the
Oh,
camera.
oh yeah, yeah, that's the JD Vance one. Stephen Miller's like he's in mid fart. Dan Scavino's comb over is being shown, and then did you see Caroline Levitt's photo? The
No,
close up
no.
on her lips. It
Oh,
is terrible. There's a close up on her just what do they put on the lips? What is it called? Not
filler.
filler. So it's a close up on Levitt's filler lips. I mean, they did them dirty. They did them really dirty, Allison. I love it.
Yeah, I remember when a couple of hit pieces came out on me, they did the same to me. They got me, like, in 2008 on Channel 8 News, and you know how whenever you pause a program, you're always like, uh, they got a pause
But
face,
that's my Piers, the Piers Morgan face.
yeah, and they're like, look at this Allison Gill, she's a terrible person," or whatever, and I'm like, "Okay, alright." Yeah, they did them dirty, and that's fine, deservedly so. I
Trump,
what I was
she,
looking for
oh,
was
go
any
ahead.
mention of Susie Wiles was one of the witnesses in the classified documents case up in New Jersey at Bedminster when he was waving around that Iraq war plan from, Mark Milley. Look at this Mark
Oh, yeah.
Milley's, "Oh, I can't don't get too close to these papers, they're classified. I can't declassify them anymore because 'cause I'm not the president anymore." Like, in one sentence, he admits that he can't declassify anything, and he lost the election. And she was one of those witnesses, and, of course, we never got to that. I know there's a lot of, media outlets and, Democrats in Congress and, trying to wrest free volume 2 of the classified documents report, but she'll be in there, if we ever do get to see volume 2. Mm,
I, I mean, and I'll quote some. Let me quote you some.
yeah, please.
Just genius quotes here. Uh, she calls Trump, who remember his brother, had an alcohol problem and he's never drank. She refers to Trump has a quote an alcoholic's personality. Vance's conversion from never Trumper to MAGA acolyte, she said, has been, quote, sort of political. The vice president, she added, has been a conspiracy theorist for a decade. That's a quote. Russell Vought, architect of the Project 2025 and head of OMB, is a, quote, right wing absolute zealot. When I asked her what she thought about Musk's report, reposting a tweet about the public sector workers killing millions under Hitler, Stalin, Mao, she replied, quote, I think that's when he's microdosing.
So
I mean,
it's I mean, it's basically stuff we all kinda knew, but the story here is that it's been confirmed by the White House Chief of Staff.
chief of
That's
staff.
that's the story here. Um, Honestly, I didn't think any chief of staff would last a year in this administration. In fact, a lot of top positions I remember in the first administration when Rachel Maddow had that wall behind her of
Yeah.
people who had left, the turnover wall. The turnover seems to be less this year. I think he took his time vetting people, making sure he had criminal stuff on everybody. Um, he learned his lesson on how to shake people down better, I think. But the fact that she's been there a year is pretty surprising. The fact that Hegseth's still there, the fact that Patel is still there. I think Kristi Noem might be on her way out in January because she's not building enough concentration camps fast enough. Um, so now instead of firing people for being the adult in the room, he will be firing people for not being enough of a Nazi. So we haven't really seen the cabinet that he's picked and the cabinet that Susie Wiles helped pick, according to this Vanity Fair article, is Nazi enough in most cases. So
That's
I think
correct.
that's why we're not seeing as much of a turnover in this particular administration.
And we're going to get to the Nazi part of, and we're using that word very deliberately. This administration, never go Nazi. If you have to go Nazi, go half Nazi. They've gone full Nazi, and we'll bring the receipts. But I want to ask, here's another one. Over lunch, Wiles told me about Trump's Venezuela strategy. Quote, he wants to keep on blowing boats up until Maduro cries uncle. And people way smarter than me on that say that he will.
People way smarter than you?
Who's that?
Yeah,
Stephen
that
Miller?
would be my follow-up question. Who's way smarter than you in this administration?
Stephen Miller? Who else? I
Or
mean,
maybe it's not people in the administration. Maybe it's people like us who are saying he's just going to keep blowing shit up. I'm probably smarter. So I don't know. Maybe she's talking about me. I have
and
no
then also
idea.
the Epstein files. Wiles talks about Epstein, admitting that there's nothing bad in the files concerning former President Clinton. As for Trump, oh, this is where MAGA is going to blow up. She says that Epstein and Trump were young and, quote, playboys. Allison.
Hmm. Hmm. I this whole I mean, how since the Access Hollywood tape, this has been the defense, right? Oh, young men, boys will be boys, locker room talk. What's passing around a child? Who among us, right? I mean, like that's their literal defense. Um, these Epstein files, excuse me, are due Friday from the Department of Justice, and they're nowhere near ready.
Mm,
Um, I haven't had any, all my sources at Information and Management Division. I reached back out to them when the law passed, and I said, "Did I have 1,000 people locked in a building again, going through these files to make sure that everything's done?" And they all said, "No, it's no longer in our purview because it is now an open and ongoing investigation." Because, as you know, Donald Trump opened or had Pam Bondi open an investigation into Larry Summers. And as one person on social media put it, "Ah, damn it! Now I have to take my Larry Summers flag off my pickup truck." Um, it's it's um, it's going to be interesting to see. It's not a matter of whether or not Pam Bondi is going to release the full files. It's what she's going to withhold and how she's going to withhold it.
there you go.
It's
There you
going to
go.
trigger a lawsuit, which is what it says in the law. But you don't even need the law to be able to trigger a lawsuit from the Democrats in Congress on this. But it's stipulated in the law. And there'll be, we'll find out depending on what judge gets drawn. We'll find out at least through the en banc DC circuit, which is Democrat majority appointed, whether they were inappropriately redacted or whether anything was inappropriately withheld. The Democrats in Congress are demanding an audit. This
Hmm.
should probably be put in the bill, but they want an audit of. I don't know who they're going to get to audit. What do you think the DOJ is going to let like Booz Hamilton come in and check their shredding machine? I don't. I like. It'll be a self investigation, which this administration is very big on. No, I investigated myself, and everything is on the up and up.
Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Don't worry about it. And, I want to remind people, like you said, is that even if you said they were young, let me do the math. For 10 years, Donald Trump and Epstein partied together, where Epstein said that Donald was his closest friend. They partied around the 90s, late 80s to the early, part of the 21st century. Okay. Do the math, subtract 35 years. Let's take it to 1990. If Donald Trump is 79 years old, my math, which isn't the best because I'm an English major, that puts him at 44. I'm a 45-year-old man. No one accuses me of being young. I'm a middle-aged man. If they weren't partying and they were just being playboys, according to Michael Wolff, who has hours of tapes with Epstein, they were chasing models. That was the currency to be a man in the 90s. You used to get models. And I asked Michael twice, what were the ages of the models, Allison? 14 to 19. Donald Trump and Epstein also started their own modeling agencies. Donald Trump also had Trump buy Miss USA, Miss Teen USA. There have been cases of about 4 girls who are now women who said that this man in his 40s um, went and actually probably later, it was probably in his 50s now, went to their dressing room and they were deeply disturbed. 2 dozen women have accused Donald Trump of sexual assault. He's been held liable for sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll. He's been held liable for defaming E. Jean Carroll. He was on tape talking about grabbing women by the pee. Well, when you're rich and famous, they let you do it. And this is a man who we've seen just last week when the Oversight Committee released files, yet another photo. In fact, there's always seems to be photos, Allison, with Donald surrounded by young girls.
And that photo had come out previously, and I know that the right wing right now is trying to say, like, there was that the photo with like multiple women with their faces redacted, and Donald Trump, and the right wing is saying this photo came out publicly a while ago, and all of these women are in their early 20s. The Democrats are trying to create a narrative that doesn't exist. Um, and they're saying that this is some sort of conspiracy because they're redacting photos that have come out to the public. I just want to explain to everybody that the Democrats on the Oversight Committee have a duty to redact people's faces to protect their identities. If somebody else released that photo 2 years ago, that doesn't mean that this particular group of Democratic lawmakers can go ahead and release unredacted, release it unredacted. It's their job to do that. And they're also not going to be able to go through 100,000 pictures and find out which ones were released where and when and decide what doesn't need to be redacted because they've been publicly released or not to release them because they've been publicly released. It's a shell game. It's a fool's errand. And for right wing to be like, there's nothing going on here because this photo came out 2 years ago and that woman's 21. Like, what?
Folks, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Trust the evidence of your eyes and ears. From what we know, from what we've seen, from what we've heard, to me, it is very clear that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, most likely, allegedly, um, engaged in disgusting, vile behavior with girls. Allegedly. And if there was nothing there, they would have released the files because politically, it's the smartest thing to do. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to lose, especially as over 75% of Americans across all political spectrums demand the release of the Epstein files. It is the only thing that unites all Americans. Instead, what they've done, and Allison has reported on this as well, is a cover up. And I'm going to say it's the biggest cover up I've seen in modern history. Wall Street Journal reported that Pam Bondi in the spring told Donald Trump he was in the files. He lied about it publicly. The FBI, uh, Allison's written about this. How many FBI agents were used to scrub Donald Trump's name where they were using the same Excel sheet?
At least 1,000. The entire information management division and
And,
RINs.
we still haven't found out why Ghislaine Maxwell was transferred to a minimum security prison, the
Or
first of
who
its
approved
kind.
it.
First of its kind, right? Who approved it? Why did they approve it? Why is she getting special treatment? Why did Donald Trump lie about clearly the 50th birthday book that we've seen with our eyes? Why did he threaten to sue? Why did Melania Trump threaten to sue Michael Wolff if when he made the allegation that Jeffrey Epstein said that the first time Trump and Melania had sex was on his plane called the Lolita Express?
I mean, it's
Clearly,
pretty
he's
obvious,
hiding stuff.
Waj. You got 300,000 pages of exculpatory, exonerating information. You would release them.
Right? And move on. And then, you know what? You quash it, nip it in the bud. You gather back your troops. You give them the red meat you promised them for 10 years. You take away the talking points of liberals. You go after Clinton and Noam Chomsky and whoever else you want to. Or, or Allison, if you're as guilty as F, perhaps not criminal, but deeply vile, unethical, disgusting behavior shown in these photos.
And knowing that his base forgave him for the Hollywood Access tape, um, that means that whatever he's hiding is worse than that.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
I mean,
Because
why,
his cruelty is
if you're bragging about your big, huge wiener and your prowess as a man with women, who are, legal, um, why aren't you releasing these files that would support the idea that you're a playboy and a player and a badass lady killer? Like, why wouldn't you, especially in light of release the Access Hollywood tape? He should be, if that's kind of part of his what makes him cool to his base, that he can just get women whenever he wants. Why try to quash that? Why try to quash the E. Jean Carroll stuff? Why try to quash the Epstein files? Like, it's weird to brag about. Like, if I had a whole book of me being fucking awesome, but I didn't want to, like, but I was hiding it, then it means I wasn't being fucking awesome. That's that's just
No, I think it's a very good point, Allison, is because I mean, his base loves him. Locker room talk, he's a man. He gets to bang all these chicks. Yeah, he's not gay. Right? Yeah, so what? E.
the
Jean
greatest
Carroll.
love of all with Melania.
Yeah. And I don't want to repeat all the stuff that they say, but yeah, they don't care. The only president who's been held liable for sexual assault, let's vote for him. Only convicted criminal, let's vote for him. Only guy who's bragged about grabbing with a P, women by P, let's vote for him. Has all these babies from different mamas, cheated on, I think, all of his wives, let's vote for him. Had sex with a porn star, let's vote for him. So this must be so egregiously bad that he knows it's beyond the pale even for his base. And speaking about not releasing tapes, we're going to talk about Hegseth in a second, but let's tie the knot on the Susie Wiles Vanity Fair piece, folks, who are joining us, 1,600 people. Just an exquisite two-parter where Susie Wiles, chief of staff, decided, like the brilliant woman that she is, for over the course of a year, was it 8 times or 11 times did she sit with this reporter?
I think 11.
On tape. On tape, sat there 11 times over a course of the year and just had verbal diarrhea with a Vanity Fair journalist. Two-parter just dropped today with some gem quotes that we've gone over. Lev texted me. He wants to come on later tonight because his sources are saying that the Trump administration is in absolute turmoil. And he's like, man, I got to tell you what's happening. They are so freaked out and pissed off about this. But to tie it
By the
up
way,
and
just the chef's kiss that the publication is called Vanity Fair, and here is the. I mean, that's just. And no shade to Vanity Fair. I love them. I love some of the stuff that they do. Not all of it, but that's true for any publication. But like, if you want to know why she just bleh, it's because of vanity. So
it's my
what a
first tweet.
better.
It was my first tweet. That's the sin of vanity. I love it because MAGA, just like Donald Trump, it's like the movie. You ever see the movie Devil's Advocate? Remember that ending scene? Spoiler alert, where Al Pacino plays the devil and Keanu Reeves and Charlize Theron. They just go through 2 hours of hell, and and they finally survived. And then Al Pacino appears as the devil as a reporter and says, "Can I get an exclusive from you?" And then even after he's gone through all this and wants to live a quiet life, he turns around and says, "Okay, fine." And then Al Pacino turns to the camera and he goes, "Vanity, my favorite sin." And that's Trump and MAGA. They just can't help themselves. So this is Susan Wiles. She responded. Again, folks, I want to remind you all, on tape, on tape. That means they have it on tape, all of her quotes. The article published early this morning, I don't know if she talks about this, but I'm going to make this her voice. The article published early this morning is disingenuously framed hit piece on me and the finest president, White House staff, and cabinet in history. Significant context was disregarded, and much of what I and others said about the team and the president was left out of the story. I assume, after reading it, that this was done to paint an overwhelmingly chaotic and negative narrative about the president and our team. The truth is, the Trump White House has already accomplished more in 11 months than any other president has accomplished in 8 years, and that is due to the unmatched leadership and vision of President Trump, for whom I have been honored to work for the better part of a decade. None of this will stop our relentless pursuit of making America great again! Exclamation point.
I
Allison.
think I think one of the more interesting admissions was she was like, well, when everything's liberal, in order to get it to Republican, in order to bring it to what she considers the middle, you gotta swing the pendulum full Nazi in order to bring it back to the Republican Party. Like, wow. I mean, that's now she doesn't use the word Nazi, right? But she's like, she says you have to go extreme if you want to bring it back to the middle. But her middle is, and also very interesting. George W. Bush was super pissed about PEPFAR and
Yeah,
something
that
else,
was in there.
but wouldn't publicly, and still hasn't publicly, come out against this administration. But he actually made a phone call because millions of people are going to die. And PEPFAR was actually a G.W. Bush initiative, or it came about under his administration. And he was very proud of that. A lot of Republicans were very proud of saving kids from HIV/AIDS in sub-Saharan Africa. Like, that was something that they were proud of doing and having had done. And for them, for Susie Wiles to be like, well, you got to murder 500,000 children if you want to bring it back to the middle where we only murder 100,000 is just mind blowing.
Is it though? I mean, this is who they are. The cruelty ending USAID. Over 300,000 people have died as a result because USAID was wasteful, but Kash Patel and Pam Bondi can spend millions of taxpayer dollars for their private jets, and Donald Trump could give $40 billion to Argentina, and they can't find money for SNAP, even though they had the money. They still wouldn't release it, even though a judge ordered them. And there's Americans who are lining up at food banks, but billionaires
No,
have
I
gone
think it
the
is.
money.
I think it is mind blowing. And I think we need to remember and acknowledge that because otherwise we're losing our sensitivity to humanity, I think. I think that's why, so many people were shocked by what Donald Trump had to say after the deaths, the tragic, tragic deaths of Rob and Michelle Reiner, isn't because we didn't expect him to be an asshole. It was because none of us are so evil that we could
Right.
contrive what he might say.
Right.
And so I take a lot of comfort in the fact that I am continually shocked by this administration. Not surprised that they're vile, but shocked at their vileness, like the way that they pull it off, because it's always something new to me. It's nothing that I could, like, I remember when I watched the movie Human Centipede and I was like, who thought of this? Who thought of this? Like,
And then
someone
they made a
thought about
sequel.
this. And so I'm very, very glad that I would never, ever even try to imagine anything like that. Same with this administration, which, yes, I compare to Human Centipede.
For those who don't know, well, you know what? You're in for a surprise. Google Human Centipede. Because if I
Don't.
had to see it, Allison had to see it, then you can Google and get the plot. But I don't disagree with you. And allow me to say this. What I was saying is, I'm not surprised. I am
Right.
shocked. Let
Yeah.
me put it that way. I don't think anyone should be surprised anymore because this is who he is. I am, however, shocked. For example, why are we surprised that a cruel man was cruel? A man who mocked John McCain, a man who mocked Ted Cruz's dad, a man who mocked Ted Cruz's wife, a man who mocked Paul Pelosi repeatedly and joked with the diaper on his ear after surviving an assassination attempt. You know, the bullet hit I'm sure it hit the teleprompter and probably the glass nicked his ear. We won't know because they don't release any of these files, right? The hospital records. So I'm not surprised, Allison, but like you, I do remain shocked. And I think that's a very good point because you don't want to get numb. You don't want to get comfortably numb. You don't want to get used to it. You don't want to be gaslit and whitewash these crimes. And you need that sufficient level of righteous rage to keep fueling the good fight. And speaking about righteous rage, something that you and I have been talking about for a couple of months, and I was afraid that people would forget it because they're like, Venezuela fishermen, who cares? But now that they've effed up so hard, so big, it's become a scandal. And you texted me, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and you said, Waj, you keep talking about two cankles. You keep talking about Epstein and economy. This might be another cankle. Speaking about not releasing information, 2 hours ago, Hexeth on the September 2nd strike, quote, of course, we're not going to release a top secret, full edited, unedited of that. To my response is maybe he'll just release it on Signal and invite Jeffrey Goldberg.
That'd be great. I mean, ICE just admitted on the stand in Judge Dugan for Milwaukee's trial that ICE is using Signal.
Oh,
So,
wow. I did
um,
not know that.
yeah, and you know what's really great? I hear a really loud squeaky sound. I don't know what that is. Do you hear it?
I think that was me. Lev said he wants to get invited. I was just trying to invite him. Do you hear it now still?
Let me see. Check, check. Yeah, it's when I talk. Ah,
Hey,
I'm not. Hey, Lev. Hey, Lev, do you hear a squeaky sound? I don't.
check,
now I
check.
don't. Oh, now
And
I do. Not
even when
It's
you,
when
well.
I talk.
After you talk, right afterwards, you hear a little squeaky, and as I'm talking, I hear it also like a scratchy.
And
uh,
the people hear it too.
Yeah.
oh, is it me? I don't hear it. Hold on. It's just when Allison squeaks.
No, and Lev does too when he talks. What
Odd squeaks. All right. Sounds
what's
metallic.
do you have? I think you might have two windows open and there's a an echo loop going.
Me?
For me?
Somebody does. I don't know.
All right, let me go on mute. Let me go on mute while you talk. All right, how about now?
Check. Hey, Lev, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I don't hear it though. Yeah,
It's
it's
Wash.
Wash.
Yeah.
It's Wash. Yeah, it's you.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably on
Maybe
the computer. That's why he's probably computer might be
All right.
giving feedback.
Continue to speak amongst yourselves as I figure this out. Lev wanted to come
check.
on because Lev said he has the juice about how the administration is responding to this Vanity Fair profile that Allison and I have been talking about for the past 25 minutes.
Well, 1 second, Waj. Let me just
Yeah.
make sure, because it's now you sound fine. Now I don't hear it anymore.
Yeah.
It's better now.
Yeah.
Whatever you did is better. But you were asking me something.
Yeah.
You were asking me something, Waj, before Lev came on about
Hegseth, the Hegseth and the release. He says he's not going to release the video because, of course, he's not going to release top secret information, Allison.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember what I was talking about. Anyway, I had a point, but I can't remember what it is. Anyway.
We'll stick with it. We'll stick with it. Let's stick with Hegseth before we give it to you, Lev. This was what I said, and maybe this might prompt you, is maybe he'll just release it on Signal like he releases everything else and invite Jeffrey Goldberg, and then you told me that ICE is using it.
ICE is using Signal. Yeah, and here's what cracked me up, and we joked about this yesterday on the Beanstalk, which is our new video podcast. I'm doing like 15 shows a week now. It's a video podcast on MSW Media on our YouTube channel. They called it, here's what they called it. They called it Frozen Water Group. Because, I don't know, they were trying to hide the fact that it was ICE. It's a bunch of ICE people talking about ICE shit. And they're like, hey, I got an idea. Let's call it the Frozen Water Group. And that'll really throw them off our scent. They'll never know we're ICE if we call it or, hey, wouldn't this be clever? And then some other dipshit fuckface was like, yeah, that's a cool band name too. Let's start a band. And now there's probably some middle-aged tribute band, like cover band called Frozen Water playing. And you know what? I'm tired today.
I'm with you.
These people are the dumbest. These people are so their incompetence is only matched by their cruelty, Lev. And the Vanity Fair piece, in going off of I did not know that story about ICE using Signal and calling themselves the Frozen. It's just too stupid. But even it hurts my brain. But this Vanity Fair piece,
it sounds like brain rot that my kids.
This Vanity Fair piece just it encapsulates recklessness, vanity, cruelty, stupidity. Lev, and you texted me, you said you've heard that the administration is in turmoil right now.
Yeah, So, first of all, every one of those things you said is what we talk about, the three of us on our own channels and here together when we speak. What Susie Wiles basically did is she came out and said everything we've been saying. The one thing is that I want to make very clear to everybody, because first of all, I know Susie Wiles very well. Let's start off. She comes from Ballard and Associates. Ballard and Associates is K Street, is Brian Ballard, who Brian Ballard is where also Pam Bondi comes from, is the group that got Trump into office, helped him win Florida. I used to work for Ballard and Associates, know all of them very well. And let me tell you, she is not a novice. This is not an accident. She did not just go give an interview like somebody, that didn't know what was going on. This was pre-planned. She chose who the author was going to be. There was a reason why, and there's also a reason why it's happening now.
Is she faking her outrage?
No, she's planning the out. She's basically setting up already. Because I wrote about
no, but Lev, my question is.
Okay. Maybe
my question is with her saying this is outrageous. This Vanity Fair article.
Oh yeah, that's because Trump is pissed. Yeah, no, this is all acting. This is all acting because listen, that's what I'm trying to say to you. She's full of shit. she is not a first timer. She set that article up because, and the timing of the article is because right now one of the things we've been talking about is January. There's going to be a lot of congressmen and congresswomen that might be going on vacation, that might be all of a sudden retiring, and she's seeing. Believe me when I tell you, there's people that like loyalists like Pete Hegseth we were talking about. They are just so stupid and already in their way that they're going down with the ship. So is Pam Bondi. But then there are people, and that's I wrote by my Substack, that are looking for an exit. And that is Dan Bongino, and that is Susie Wiles, and others that are going to be coming up. And this is the groundwork that she's laying out. Because if you take a look at what she says, she lays that out. She doesn't, the one thing that in her outrage, in her rants, she never said those things. She
That's right.
never says
Why, Lev, why not just come out like a normal human person with a mouth and a brain and say, I got to get out of here. This is horrible. Why?
Because I'll tell
Do
you.
this whole couch it in a 11, 12 interviews and release it when you want and then feign outrage when it comes out? Why the whole song and dance if MAGA is going to be tanked and she won't have a political future with that base?
Well, there's a couple of things going on because right now he still has full control and he is off the rails. If you saw even in her quote where she says that he thinks he could do anything he wants. He right now, and I've been talking about it for a while, he's gotten into a point right now. This is not the Donald Trump even I knew when I was around him. He's way in a different level. This is,
he stopped raping young girls. He must be out of it. No, I'm sorry.
And I mean, like, no, but I'm saying to you, he's definitely, he's, Putin, he thinks that he lives, this is a dictatorship now.
Yeah, and that's why he's
right. No, he's lost it already. I mean, and with the dementia and his way of life and everything, and also you gotta understand he's living constantly with people around him. What makes a lot of dictators go crazy and also is because they can't trust anybody, and because they start living in a world where they start fearing that everybody's out there to screw them, everybody's out there to do it, and they start losing more. And that's why Susie Wiles is a professional. She came out there and she's putting the nails in the coffin, because like you said, if she just comes out, it's declaring war on Donald Trump, and who knows what he has on her, what's going on. Right now, she's playing a psychological game where, it's a hit piece. It's the newspaper, it's Vanity Fair. They're doing it, and letting you up. But in the meantime, she's laying out the groundwork for the rest of the world and letting everybody knows, like, this is what's happening. This is what is going on. And I'm told them not to do this. I tried to stop this. So when we have the Nuremberg trials or whatever we're going to call them over here, she's going to be out there trying to because otherwise, I'm not saying it's going to save her. I'm not saying that this is going to save her or this is some kind of, but this is what is I'm hearing from what is there are people that are very close next to her that she's trying to.
She doesn't need saving. Maybe she's trying to make sure.
This is the interesting part. They all are getting pardoned. That's not even the question. But
and that's why she can't publicly split. It's because she still needs her pardon, I guess.
But thank you very much. But not only that, but she's also, and some of the things I'm hearing is Trump is going to also push this auto pen pardon stuff. That's one of the things that I'm going to be doing a special with Hunter Biden in the next couple of weeks, especially about that. Once he triggers it, he's going to put the pressure. I'm hearing it. It's literally probably right after the New Year's, somebody's going to be a target of either a policy or to try to undo the Biden's auto pen, which he's very adamantly thinking about doing. What I'm hearing is, and why some people are looking for the exits and are scared of the pardons, because they feel that is going to trigger a major outrage in Congress to when the Dems take over. There's going to be changes in this pardon because of the way Trump has basically abused the pardon power in the past 10 months and is abusing it, and where it could come back to haunt him. Again, I'm not a pardon specialist. I'm not a historian.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But I mean, even if Congress passed a law putting limits on pardons, the Supreme Court would put it in a shit can.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying to you. Where it's like we're in a catch-22
but going to your point, Lev, going to your point, last week, Reuters reported that this administration is threatening to sanction the ICC, International Criminal Court, unless the ICC essentially preemptively promises not to prosecute them, which is totally, Allison and Lev, what normal non-guilty people think about all the time, right? You better not prosecute me once I get out of power. If you do, I'll sanction you. This, your what you've been hearing kind of makes sense. I still think it's reckless. I still think it's egotistical. I still think it's vanity. She's probably trying to put some daylight between her and this administration. She seems to throw pretty much everyone under the bus. Russell Vought she threw under the bus with her quotes. J.D. Vance she threw under the bus. Stephen Miller, she threw. I know there's no love between her and Pete Hegseth. She called Trump a raging alcoholic, which I'm sure pisses him off because we know about
that he acts.
His work, his work,
Thank
yeah,
you.
is like
He behaves like a raging alcoholic. The question I have for you, Lev, is, and then I just right before you came on, I read the tweet where she doesn't, she says, "Oh, mischaracterization," and it was essentially she calls it a hit piece. How many lettuce heads survive? Does a lettuce head survive, or does a Susan Wiles survive? Like, how long did she have left in this White House? Because I can't see her sticking around after this bombshell. And of course, again, folks, there's tapes. So if she really attacks Vanity Fair, if I'm the reporter and I'm Vanity Fair and I'm thinking now like an editor, I just release audio clips, Allison, every couple of, 2 a day.
The other thing too that sorry, I know this was for Lev, but I mean, this might just be a setup for another lawsuit against a liberal media outlet for the base. He loves to sue media outlets. He sued the BBC. The thing is once it starts to get to discovery and deposition, they drop the lawsuit.
They drop there you go. But I think Waj is onto something actually here. As far as what you're saying it, because look, I spoke to at least 2-3 solid sources that are telling me Susie Wiles is trying to lay out the ground that this was intentional, that this was not that there's a plan behind this. What if the plan is to get her fired? Maybe, like you said, Waj, to get out of there before the shit hits the fan. It's really, when the musical chair stops, it's who's going to be the next chief of staff when it all actually starts coming down. So maybe, you can't leave, but maybe if he gets pissed enough or stops, eventually maybe he does a change, because chief of staff doesn't have to be appointed by the Senate, doesn't have to be approved by anybody. He could just go out tomorrow and change it, and make Stephen Miller chief of staff.
Well, yeah, but why hasn't he already? If that's what he wanted to do, it's not like a great amount of voters of the voting public.
Well, he just came out.
Well, that's it. Now I'm done with Trump. If he's going to fire Susie Wiles and replace her with Stephen Miller, I'm finished now. I don't think that would happen.
No. I'm saying to you, it just came out. So right now he's going to react. Why? Before he called her Susie Trump, if you recall. He did not plan on it. I'm saying from Susie Wiles.
Was that the dementia?
No, that's he really literally, that he tried to show that she's powerful, like she's she's a Trump, like she's part of the family, like he really is trying to do. What I'm saying to you is not that it's Trump's point of view, Allison, it's hers. She might be, because look, I want to make it very clear. This is not an accident. This is not a hit piece. This is, they have recordings. She knows what she's been doing this for a long time. She's been working on K Street, Ballard Associates. And the timing of it is very important that you need to understand.
I mean, it makes sense if it boils down to her trying to get out before the real Nazi shit goes down. But
this is what I think.
But also to do it in such a way that she preserves her pardon and she,
Right, let him do it. She's not leaving. She's gonna call her. He's gonna fight it. But knowing Donald Trump the way I know him, Allison, after this, he doesn't trust her the same way already. That loss is because you gotta understand. That's why. Remember what's his name? the first national security advisor, Mike Waltz, why he got, it wasn't, and I reported on it, it wasn't the fact that Signalgate happened because a lot of people were on that Signal chat. It was the point that was on his, that he found out that he was speaking to that reporter previously, and he's the one, so he didn't trust him anymore, basically. He was the leak. He was like, so this is, I know that way Donald works. So this right now is Susie Wiles is not, it's, the relationship is severed. It's not the same. Now, the fact, does he get rid of her? Does she leave on her own? Is she part of the new change after January where he brings new people, and some leave? Like, I'm telling you, Bangina also, I'm hearing, is trying to get out of there, and others also. So we'll see what happens. But today was really a bombshell that hit inside as rocking, and it's going to only keep going to be going because the trust is what broke. Because the one thing that nobody has, and Susie Wiles did not say, and nobody has, is she's not retracted or said that she did not say those quotes. She just said that it's a hit piece, it's not this, it's blah, 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 professional talking. But she did not say, I did not say it. Like Trump says, they put words in my mouth or they spliced them with BBC. You know what I'm saying to you?
And the hits keep coming, right? Because this is on the heels of Indiana Republicans rebuffing Donald Trump and JD Vance, on the heels of terrible economic numbers that have come out today, which confirm that we are probably heading into a recession, that the economy is going to get worse. Comes on the heels of him now being negative double digits on healthcare, negative 30, folks, negative 22 on immigration, negative 30 on economy, negative 30 on the Epstein files.
Well, and Waj, that's what voters are going to be exceedingly pissed about. They don't give a shit who the chief of staff is. And I mean, writ large, not folks like us. They care about the fact that Mike Johnson just decided that he's not going to vote to extend ACA subsidies, that people are going to have double, triple, quadruple the payments for their premiums for healthcare. That we actually lost 64,000 jobs. We've been so completely stagnant on job growth, whereas Joe Biden had amazing job growth every single month of his presidency. We've ticked up to the highest unemployment rate since 2021 when Joe Biden first took office. He brought that down considerably. So I think that
well, actually, Allison, if I may, it goes back, 2020 was an aberration because of COVID, but this is the lowest numbers since 2009, the economic crisis. And 2020 being the COVID, right? So, I mean, it's 2020 because once in a lifetime pandemic. And then it's the lowest, you take it back to the economic crisis that we're all old enough. We went through that. I mean, that was very painful. And furthermore, to Allison's point, as healthcare premiums, folks, is going to be so painful for so many people. As people are defaulting on their car loans, as people aren't buying houses, as the job market is contracting, as the prices are going up due to a stupid tariff policy and trade war. We still even haven't talked about the big billionaire bill, which is the largest wealth transfer from the rest of us to the billionaires, that gives permanent tax cuts to the billionaires at the expense of Medicaid. So they're going to gut Medicaid on top of all this, Allison and Lev, in 2026, which is right around the corner. And so many people are going to be in pain. And I feel like, speaking about the Nazi part, and I know, Allison, I don't want to keep you guys for long. I want to ask, two more stories, if you don't mind. Well, three quick stories.
Also Venezuela. Definitely Venezuela.
Full Nazi. They've gone full Nazi now. Tommy Tuberville, Randy Fine, Matt Walsh, the DHS. I don't know if you saw Allison and Lev yesterday, for the third time in 2 months, tweeted from their official account a Nazi term, remigration, which means ethnic cleansing. They're openly using the old school Islamophobic terms of invaders. Muslims can assimilate. They've tried to use the shooting in Australia as their fourth Reichstag fire. And it's, to me, folks, and I wanted your take on this, Allison and Lev, it's the reason why they're going all in. This was the end game. Now the hoods are off. They're not wasting any time. No dog whistles. They realize they're losing momentum. They're losing the people, and they're losing Donald Trump, who's dying. So the Russell Vaughts, the Stephen Millers, the white nationalists, the young Republican leaders who are groypers and white nationalists and neo-Nazis are going all in with the plan, trying to implement this before daddy dies. That's my take on this. I think it's trust the evidence of your eyes and ears, folks. If you think I'm being hyperbolic, it's literally right in front of you. Yesterday, the Politico did a story. The New York Republicans had a gala, which was populated by white supremacists and white nationalists. That's my take on this. 11, Allison. Lev, you
You wanna go
first.
first? Oh, up to me first. Well, I agree with you 100%, except for one little thing, is that I don't think he's going to die. I think we're going to get the control of the House, and he's going to go through some things before he actually passes away. And I think we'll be able to stop this wave of Nazism that's happening in front of our eyes. And 100%. And that's why I talk about, you see right now, Marjorie Taylor Greene all of a sudden shifting, and, people are getting fooled. Marjorie Taylor Greene is actually taking over the America First movement, which is the original 1930s right, the right movement. Trump fine-tuned it to make it MAGA, make America great again. And with the split right now, and you see like Tucker Carlson's, you see the Fuenteses, you see the Candace, so they're all uniting around Marjorie Taylor Greene, and that part of MAGA and that right, Nazism is actually playing out in front of our eyes, and that's why we got to be very careful and not just to think, oh my God, just because Marjorie Taylor Greene is stepping up, and don't be fooled, folks, because
Well,
this is part of the plan.
yeah,
You
and
use him, use him, but don't don't support him. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Allison.
no, it's okay. There's nowhere else for them to go. They're certainly not going to become Democrats. There's no
Right.
middle ground anymore for them. The Republican Party is now that it is just ultra right wing, and so they don't really have anywhere else to go other than to just stay home, which is what they did on a Tuesday last month, where they're like, I don't have anything now. It's either Nazi or liberal.
100%.
So they're all going to stay home. They're going to this is what happened in 2018. They're going to get shellacked. And we might even get the Senate back, which wasn't conceivably
Yeah.
in play a year ago. But that's what I think. I just think if they care and they want a home, they have to go full Marjorie Taylor Greene, Peter Thiel,
Yep.
all that, because there's nowhere else for them to land. Nobody has created a centrist part, like
Absolutely.
Republican Party. So they're like, well, I certainly can't be a liberal because I don't like the trans or whatever, whatever
Yeah, exactly.
BS is in their head. So that's why I think so many people are finding ground, like Mamdani and the Wisconsin Supreme Court judges, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court judges, all of these elections that we had in November. They're finding, hey, if we just stick on affordability, which is going to be completely trashed, it's already, and it's going to be 100 times worse next year, that people who are like, we've seen the people fed up with the identity BS. We saw every single Moms of Liberty take the litter boxes out of my child's classroom idiot swept out of school boards. We saw it we saw it in Montana in the state legislature with Zoe Zephyr. The Republicans were like, I'm fucking tired of this. We saw it with the Youpers this past week in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, who were like, I don't give a shit about your there's only two sexes bill. I want my kid to get an education. People are tired of it. So you
I
either
agree.
have to go full Nazi, or if you're a Republican with no home, you just stay home and don't vote, or you show up and just try to get shit done with your neighbors.
And
Those are your choices.
Allison, I want to just, applaud you, because part of my whole strategy is what I'm trying to do is go out there and go into MAGA world and do exactly that, to open their eyes that Donald Trump lied to them, that they don't have a home, and to stay home and stop voting. Because that 30% of that vote that Donald Trump tapped into in 2015, if we could get them to stay home and not fight them about policy, not try to drag them over, like you said, they're never going to vote Democrat. They're never going to come out there and all support. So don't try to do it. Don't waste your money. Don't go try to play these games. The most important thing we could do right now is open up that group of people, their eyes. And if they know that Donald Trump has turned their back on them, which they're opening and seeing, they will go back into their hibernation, and they won't vote. And that's a huge piece of
that
it.
giant middle group. There's plenty of like independents and stuff who are
Yep.
86% fed up with this,
Yep.
72% fed up with that. The numbers are upside down, and like I said, are people who are just like, I just want to buy groceries and send my kid to school
Yeah.
and not
Absolutely.
die. Can we
And
just
not
have that?
and
And then you find that that's actually the Democrats that are
yeah,
doing that.
I don't want my kid to get measles, and I want my kids to have, and to put a positive spin on this, because I understand you stay home or go full Nazi. That's what the option the Republicans are giving. But look at Miami, also, just an amazing story where Cubans, for those who don't follow Miami politics, like their daddy and their granddaddy just vote Republican, right? Most Cubans in Miami, and now you saw a non-Latina woman, first woman ever, first non-Latino in 30 years and the first Democrat in nearly 30 years become the mayor. And a lot of these diehard Republican Latino voters in Miami shifted. And the fact that Donald Trump has lost so many Latino voters and so many young voters at a historic rate, it very well might be that a lot of people are like, you know what? If my option is Nazis and me holding my nose and voting for healthcare and like affordability, all right. I'll vote for affordability, which is why Mamdani won over, and so did AOC, won over a lot of Trump voters in this last cycle. But with the Republican Party, and before we go into fentanyl, I want to ask, because we got to talk about how stupid
I
this
do
is.
have
Yeah,
five
I want to
minutes.
talk. I got to get Allison on fentanyl because it's
Yeah,
just so
I could
amazing.
stay a little longer because I want to talk about
Yeah,
Venezuela
well, I'll
with
let
you
get
also. Yeah,
Allison first because she's only
yeah,
got 5, and I'll
yes,
bring you Lev.
yes, yes.
But don't underestimate, folks. They're going full Nazi. They're going full Nazi. And I want you to have eyes wide open. I want you to see it. Uh, yes, it might not be the majority, but the Republican Party is going full Nazi. They're doubling down on ultra MAGA, and they're going to get more violent and more cruel before it's over, folks. So I want you to keep your eyes wide open. It's happening right in front of you. I've been warning about it for years. Voila. Allison, but the real problem is not the Nazis and the economic downfall and white supremacist terrorism and mass shootings. The executive order came out yesterday that Donald Trump is now uh, ordering fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. Allison, for those who don't know why this is incredibly stupid and will actually hurt MAGA and white folks and the Rust Belt and Trump voters and hospitals, can you educate them?
Okay. Well, I remember I remember way back in the day when the G.W. Bushes and the Rumsfelds and the Ashcrofts really wanted the oil over in the Middle East, and so they created this idea that there were weapons of mass destruction, and that's why they had to go in. That was their cover, right? We gotta go get these weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction. And there obviously weren't any of those. And then when Donald Trump tried to justify the use of the Alien Enemies Act and blowing up these Venezuela boats by saying, well, drugs are weapons and we're in a non-international armed conflict with a terrorist organization, I was like, okay, I see what's going on here. This is a justification to grab more power. And I
Oil.
jokingly said, I jokingly said, they just want the oil in Venezuela. They're just going right for it. They aren't even using the WMD excuse. And then bam, they call fentanyl a weapons of mass WMD. And I'm like, oh my good Jesus Christ. And that's not where the fentanyl's coming from. And they're not even going to the United States. I'm just like these things that I joke about, things that get laughs on stage are coming true, and it's wild. It's wild. I was like, wouldn't it be so fucking hilarious if they called it a weapon of mass destruction? And then sure enough, he does it.
And if I may, before we promote Allison, I know she has to leave. Folks, a hospital use fentanyl, and there's fentanyl addictions. And so, if you call it a weapon of mass destruction, I'm old enough to remember the war on terror, which I opposed and protested. We said that anyone who tries to procure a weapon of mass destruction, distributes it, or sells it is a terrorist. So hospitals, doctors, a lot of folks in the Rust Belt who are, addicted to fentanyl, are they going to be prosecuted as terrorists? And are we going to do unto them what the Keksets did to the Venezuela fishermen, Allison?
Well, if we have any hospitals left by
Oh,
the time the midterms roll around.
dark humor, but also sadly an accurate point. Allison, before you leave, shamelessly promote yourself.
What would be cool? We have a new video podcast. We do the Daily Beans, which is an audio podcast every day, and now we also do a daily video podcast called Beans Talk. And you can get it for free at the MSW Media YouTube channel. That's what I would like everybody to check out this week.
And also, can you please talk about the amazing initiative that you have, and why people should become paid subscribers to the Breakdown? Because, like me, you're a terrible capitalist, but you're like the worst capitalist.
Yeah, just today on the Daily Beans, I announced that. Well, a couple weeks ago on Giving Tuesday, I said I'm going to give all of my veterans benefits, all the benefits that I get from this government. I'm going to donate the equivalent to communities that this administration puts in harm's way. And I'm going to do it loudly and proudly. I'm going to say, hey, Donald Trump, and hey, Stephen Miller, all the money you send me as a veteran, I'm giving it to the people that you're trying to take stuff away from. Just want you to know. Just thought you should know. So that is a total of, for this year, $45,976.60, if memory serves. So, yeah, today on the Daily Beans audio podcast, we were able to announce we're giving $20,000 to It Gets Better.
That's fantastic.
And the reason
done.
I'm able
That's
to do
incredible.
this is
Awesome.
the reason I'm able to do this is because of everybody who watches our Substack lives, everybody who subscribes, everybody who listens to the Daily Beans, whether you do it free or whether you do it paid. It's like the girl with the dogs, the dog groomer who can do all the free grooms for shelter pups because of all the people that watch her content. It's like that. It's because of you. You guys give me the stability to throw this lifeline to people who deserve dignity and protection that this particular administration
Amazing.
is putting in harm's way. So if you can, if you have the means, I know a lot of people don't right now, and it's not a surprising thing, but if you do have the means to financially support, all the content is free always because, as Wash says, we're terrible capitalists. But if you can financially support it, that it's because of that I'm able to do things like that, and I want you to know where your money goes. So thank you so much for supporting everything that we do here at MSW Media. And if you get a chance, oh my God, I'm obsessed with the Martin Sheen podcast. We just got the Martin Sheen podcast on MSW Media. It's incredible. Check it out. It's free wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So
And also, Allison doesn't sleep and doesn't rest ever.
yeah.
And I thought I was the one who never slept, but she beat me to it because I actually, right now, I've been keeping tally. She's never said no to me. And no, she said no to me, but she was on vacation. And I said no to her once because I could have done it. And then my wife was so upset at me. And I said, Allison, last week, I said, just come back from travel. Allison, my wife has told me it's 10 p.m. Don't do it. And she goes, I understand. So right now, Allison trumps me when it comes to masochistic workaholic. Thank you so much, Allison. If I don't see you until the new year, take care of yourself. Please relax. Please rest. And
Happy holidays, Allison.
Oh, it's only December 16th, dude. We'll have another one of these before.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
Probably. Just in case.
Just in case. All right, Lev, let me ask you one final question before I let you get out of here. Let's shit on Kash Patel because, we should. Kash Patel's underwater. Kash Patel, he fumbled yet another investigation. I think that might be the third or fourth time. It is shocking to me, Lev, that we still do not have a suspect in the Brown University shooting. I mean, it really is in the United States of America. And instead of looking for the shooter, the local police essentially blamed the FBI for messing it up. They had a suspect, released a suspect. And Kash Patel is sitting with podcasts with Katie Miller, with his honeypot girlfriend, and going to parties. Talk to us about Kash Patel real quick.
I mean, that's the problem. I mean, you just said it out loud because, Kash Patel is not running an FBI. He's a podcaster. Kash Patel is more worried about breaking the news, being the first one to come out on X and say it. And you saw Trump come out also and falsely say that they have captured the person while they didn't even have anybody in custody. I mean, these are all dangerous things. This is stuff that has never transpired in the United States history. The FBI never talks. The FBI doesn't come out. When the FBI comes already knocking at your door, it's it's D-Day. Nowadays, it's like, and just think about it, they're rushing to judgment has probably cost this person to escape because they were holding people that were not accountable. For 19 hours, I think they held somebody. And for those 19 hours, basically the real killer was running away. So the sad part, is that people like Kash Patel are not going anywhere. And that's the sad part. As incompetent as he is, that's the reason he's there. He's not there because of his competency. The Pete Hegseth is not there for his competency. These people are there for because not even their loyalty, but because they are either too stupid or too part of the cult to cultanize to just follow along and do what is being said because they have no idea what's being done. I mean, it's very sad to see this happening, because people are getting killed. Lives are, not only because of the fake, these investigations. I mean, this guy's more worried about what jacket that he comes out, how he looks, or, than, what's actually being reported. And so it's sad.
I think that was a medium female woman's jacket.
Medium female. But look, I know Kash Patel going back to Devin Nunes. I worked with Devin Nunes. I'm doing all that dirty stuff in Ukraine simultaneously with, Nunes had Kash Patel and Derek Harvey, his right and his left hand. Kash Patel was running around. He was promoting him to get closer to the White House, midnight run. He's the one that stopped Rudy from going to meet with Zelensky because Kash Patel said that he had information that there was enemies of Donald Trump around Zelensky at the time. So Kash Patel goes way back. I mean, even January 6th, Kash Patel was in charge of, not picking up the phone and sending the military. So there's a lot, Kash Patel, where, he's in for the ride. Don't listen to the hype. If MS Now or somebody breaks and says Trump is thinking of getting rid of Kash Patel, he's not. He'll never find another idiot or fool to go do the dirty work for him like that. That is why I'm saying, which we keep at, like Rachel Maddow says, watch this space, is Susie Wiles, Dan Bongino, and I'll be bringing some more names to you soon because there's others that are looking for that escape route and are seeing the writing on the wall. And the interesting part also, I just want to touch on the Venezuela, I keep mentioning, is Susie Wiles in her interview also mentioned exactly what me and you have been reporting on for already, that this was all about regime change, that he's trying to put Maduro on his knees and not allowing him, because Maduro, as I told you, would try to work out, a deal if possible. But there's a lot going on behind the scene, and this is a bombshell because this is just the beginning. This is, when you hear that the bomb fell, you heard the explosion, but now you're going to see the fallout that's going to take place from it. And I think what you said is 100% right. And I'm going to check with her because I think she's not going to leave. This was part of a plan to set up to maybe have him get rid of her in a nice way, like, fire her where she still might get the pardon, but I think she wants out of that administration as quick as possible because I don't think she wants to be sitting on the chair when the music stops.
And folks, look, it's been 10 years. Trump is vindictive, cruel, petty, mean. He throws anyone and everyone under the bus. I give you January 6th was perfectly fine with Mike Pence being killed. Literally threw him to the wolves that he unleashed. We saw the vindictiveness against Rob Reiner. I cannot imagine, but I am willing to be entertained and surprised with something new. I cannot imagine that this bombshell two-parter from Vanity Fair, which has the most unflattering pictures of the administration, just amazing. Look at the photos they chose. I mean, it is amazing trolling job. It's on tape. I don't think she's dumb. She might be a bit arrogant, like many of them are. She might have been lured in by vanity. She might speak off the cuff. And also, she might be, protecting her own ass, that I was the one competent person surrounded by all these idiots. And hey, I tried to keep the ship, from going to the iceberg. That was General Kelly's excuse, right? In the first administration, there had to be an adult in the room. And a lot of these people afterwards said, oh, hey. I agreed with some of the stuff, but the really crazy stuff, I tried to be the one that protected them. So, all these people are snakes and they're rats fleeing the ship. I do see Susan Wiles not lasting. And then I see her turning around and coming up with a tell-all or a memoir. The people who I think are going to go down with the ship, I agree with you. Hegseth, he's too deep in it now. Pam Bondi, too deep in it because she made the choice to protect him in the Epstein files. Kash Patel, ditto. Stephen Miller, Donald Trump. I did not include J.D. Vance in that, folks, because I see him It's knifing them all, even Usha. Those five, I think, are really stuck. So let's see. Let's see if the head of lettuce outlasts Susan Wiles. But Lev, Trump. This is such a damning piece,
Yeah.
and he's so petty and fragile and vindictive. How does she go and appear next to him in photos, in cabinet meetings? How long do you think she lasts?
Oh, I don't think she lasts much longer. I think you're talking about January. You're going to see shifts January, February. You're going to see people moving, shifts happening in the new year, and I think she's going to be one of them because knowing Trump, this was a backstab. Knowing that she spoke to a reporter, made those comments, they're going to try to do damage control because you got people like Vaught and Miller there, understanding that they can't have a full out Susie Wiles turning on them, so they're going to allow her to play it out and try to make this into a smooth transition exit where, and move somebody in. And the interesting part that I'm hearing, it might be Stephen Miller that takes a job. And that's when you get really radicalization. That's when we need to be really worried about, because that's when we will see martial law and we won't have an election. So that's the one thing I am scared of.
Yeah, me too.
With that, because a lot of people are celebrating, saying Susie Wiles, as bad as she is, as a snake as she is, she's not on the same level as Stephen Miller or Russell Vaught. She's not on
And
the
is
same.
Vaught going to leave or no? Is Vaught part of the crew that stays?
Stays. No, he's staying.
Okay.
Vaught is the leader. Vaught's staying. Miller's staying. I mean, there's because just think about what we're talking about, what we're reporting on. Think about the shit that we don't even know about that they're doing behind the scenes. I mean, he's running the OMB whatever department. I mean, just think about what she's saying, and she's already calling him, the head of Project 2025. She's saying that he's a far right Zionist. I mean, just think about if she's already saying it. Think about the stuff that's being done, and think about what actually transpired during that whole Doge thing. If you had Elon Musk sleeping, taking ketamine and sleeping in I mean, it's just wild. I mean, because we reported on this stuff, we said a lot of this stuff, but not to this degree where she's actually now somebody that, and I understand because I was like that when I was on the inside. When I talk about Zelensky or something like that, I could see her saying it, and I could visualize them doing it actually, because these people really try to outdo themselves, to be more nastier, more vindictive, more crazier, and that's what we're seeing play out. And that's why you're right. These are rats running from a ship.
And I just want to end on this. I think, Lev, you and I, Trump and MAGA. So when I say these things, people don't take me seriously. I suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. I'm hysterical. I'm, a person of color and a Muslim. We just, exaggerate and, don't call him racist and blah, blah, blah. All this nonsense you've heard, right? Don't take him literally. Don't take him seriously, even though he's a violent insurrectionist, even though he pardoned the violent insurrectionists, even though he said he wants to be a dictator for a day. Lev, this past week, and I've seen this actually in the past 2 weeks, ever since it was an Afghan national. I've been, let's connect the dots real quick, just so people keep their eyes wide open. What we've been saying since the summer is they're looking there for their Reichstag fire, which was the opportunity that the Nazis used to consolidate control. The Reichstag fire was invasion, right? In the summer, Stephen Miller said he unleashed ICE. That didn't work. The Charlie Kirk murder, that didn't work. Nick Fuentes, along with the other neo-Nazi Richard Spencer, openly admitted that the Charlie Kirk murder was a Reichstag fire. They used those words that the Trump administration didn't capitalize on. Their words, folks. The other Reichstag fire was the Afghan national shooting. And since then, if you notice, they went ultra MAGA, doubled down on Somalis, said we want to send immigrants back to third world countries. Then it was end birthright citizenship. Then they bragged about ending all immigration. Then they bragged about openly having white refugees from South Africa. I put refugees in quotation marks. Then they doubled down on the Nazi talking point about remigrate. Then you saw the shooting in Australia, and a Muslim shooter came in, it was a Muslim father and son shooter and a Muslim savior who came in and got
Yeah.
shot, and and
And let's
now
say
they've
his
gone.
name, Ahmed.
Ahmed
Let's
Al
say,
Ahmed, 43 years old.
please I say, because he's the true hero. I mean, this man just literally. That's why this is what we need to be more. It's not a matter of race, color. It's about humanity, folks.
There you go.
This man didn't care who's being shot. He got up there, risked his life to save other people, countless of people, and that's what he's a true hero. And that's why I
And the
say his name.
victims of Brown
Absolutely.
University of the mass shooting, folks, the two victims are a white student, Christian, conservative. I think her name is Ella. And then the other one, Muslim, immigrant from Uzbekistan, from here, the DMV area, Muhammad, I believe is his name, right? So the rest of us see humanity in these two examples, but what they've done is gone all in. You've seen it, all in. The post 9/11 talking points: invasion, kill moderate Muslims, they must be destroyed. I'm not making this up. That's what Randy Fine is saying. Islam is the enemy. All the same type of stereotypes and talking points and conspiracy theories that were used, as Allison said, for the war on terror. Weapon of mass destruction now against Venezuela, go against the Muslims, go against the immigrants. To me, they're going full Nazi. They're going all in, Lev. And if they can't get it, I keep the receipts where Donald Trump did not rule out using the Insurrection Act. So my take on this is, if they're going down, they're going to use Islam, invasion, immigrants, Venezuela, drug traffickers, and Antifa. Maybe all of them together, use that as the threat, then invoke the Insurrection Act and declare martial law to keep themselves in power if it seems like the ship is truly going down. Am I off?
No, you're not off, and that's the scary part, because that's exactly what their plan is. And the only thing is, they're not going full Nazi. They are Nazi. They're just showing you the masks are off. They're not transforming into somebody they're not. They're actually just showing you who they've always been, and are basically, like we said, the masks are off. The only bright spot I am going to say is, and that's why I want to, because you're 100% right. We are in danger, and that's why we have to be vigilant. We have to be careful. We have to be loud and have our voices loud and keep going. But the bright spot is, because of the crazy breakup that's happening, because of what is happening in Congress, that if we're able to act quick enough, and if certain things happen the way I'm hearing might happen in the GOP, we might get control quicker than they're able to do it. And if that happens, and if we're able to get the gavel, not because we have a great leadership, but because of just that everything is falling apart and we back into it, that is one of the things that I'm praying that will save us. But yes, if we allow this to go on for the next 10 months, they will do whatever it takes to be able to stay in power. They've already shown it to you. They've already proven it to you. You've seen it with January 6th. You see it every day what they do it. You don't have to listen to me or Waj or us. We're not trying to scare you. We're not fear mongering. We're telling you exactly what's
That's the
happening.
evidence of your eyes.
It's exactly. So don't sit there and say to yourself that that's not going to happen, or that won't happen, or we live in America. It's not it's like there was a great commercial that they used to say, it's not your father's Oldsmobile. This is not the America that you all used to living in. This is not the America we all say. That's why we need to get that America back. And that's why it's so important to listen to what we're telling you, spread the message far and wide, make sure we get this as many people here, because Waj is right. They're falling apart. Trump's not feeling well. MAGA is all over the place. They're going, every time they try to go even more Nazi, even more extreme, because they're not from strength, but from weakness.
There
And
you go.
that's why we always talk about it might get worse before it gets better. But know this, folks, it's getting better, because what you're seeing and I remember that day, November 4th, when we had those elections, off year, November 5th, excuse me, or 4th, it was the 4th, when we had those elections, and when Trump, got hit in the head by seeing how the people came out and spoke out. And since that day, Trump has been on his heels. And that's the one thing me and Waj have been telling you for the past I don't know how many months already, put them on their heels, take control of the narrative. Don't allow them to, and that's what we've been doing. And that's what we need to keep doing. Keep the pedal to the metal. And it's not time to celebrate yet, folks. We will get there, but it's going to get a little worse before it gets better, but we're getting there. And we could see the progress. I could tell you that.
Yeah, folks, and just pay attention to them. They're painting all of us as extremists, as terrorists, as Antifa terrorists, Islamists. They're throwing anything that they can that would stick at the wall because they're desperate. These are all signs, like you said. I think it's very important, Love. Signs of desperation, signs of failure.
Weakness.
Right. That's why they're just desperately looking for a ragstag fire. Muslims, Somalis,
Yeah.
Haitians, Antifa, all your old people, you're leftist terrorists, right? Like they're just immigrants, undocumented immigrants. It's all a desperate ploy, and they're going full Nazi now using white supremacist conspiracy theories. And this is the plan, according to Axios, from a week and a half ago. They're doubling down on it because they have nothing left. They have nothing left. It's up to us to keep our eyes wide open. Don't be lazy. Don't be apathetic. And don't give in to cynicism. We saw, again, Miami. Look what happened in Miami. Look what happened in Georgia. They had a gerrymander. Still saw a Democrat win. Mamdani won. It came out of nowhere and won. Double-digit wins in Virginia. Indiana Republicans said, because they realize he's weakening, right? They realize he's weakening. So, folks, this is where you have to put on the pressure. There's 3,400 people watching, which is, usually you and me, we get 1,500, sometimes 2,000. This might be a record for you and me, Lev. We had Allison on. Folks, we were talking about, for those who joined us late, this will be up on my Substack, Allison's Substack, and Lev's Substack. We started talking about the Susie Wiles of it all, this bombshell report that came out of the Vanity Fair, 2 articles. They have her on tape, what it means, the spill out, what's happening in Trump land, talked about what's happening in Venezuela, talked about the war on fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction, and where MAGA is going. So if you joined in late, don't worry, we're going to have this up. And because we have so many people up, if I can, Lev, I want to offer this to your viewers. I have a partner. It's the only partner I've ever had on the Left Hook. I do, everything's free. There's no paywalls. Ground News reached out to me, and Ground News also supports our allies and friends Jess Craven. They have I've Had It podcast. They also support Qasim Rashid and Zateo. And Ground News is run by a woman. It's based on subscribers, and the reason why I'm perfectly fine partnering up with them is because not only are they what I call an aggregator, Lev. All the world news they bring on one website, but what they also do, which I find very useful, is they audit the news. So you can see where each news outlet, if they lean left or right, you can see whether the news outlets are truthful or not. And this is key right now, especially with the consolidation of media. They tell you who owns each media source, who's the owner. And what I find really useful is they do something called blind spot, where you literally could do a compare and contrast of how the right wing and MAGAverse is looking at a specific issue like Venezuela, and how the normies, the rest of the world, is looking at it. So I thought it was very useful. I'm not getting any money off this. So for my subscribers and your subscribers, I'm putting it on right now. 40% off. If you use this website, groundnews.com/hook, you get 40% off. It's called the Vanguard plan. I don't get any money from it. Check it out. It's 40% off. I'm putting it again, groundnews.com/hook.
Send it to me and I'll put it out to all because that's
I'll do it. Yeah, use it. Yeah, again, I don't get any money, just use it. If it helps you, let me know. And then also, everything is free in the Left Hook. But Lev, for Black Friday, I did something called the Terrible Capitalist Sale. And it's all free, but I depend on the kindness of strangers. Since there's no paywall, the paid subscribers, it used to be $5 a month, and the economy's so bad, folks. I said, okay, let me just take off 20 to 5%. And people said, oh, you making it $3.80 a month. I've been watching you for a while. I can support you. $38 a year, I can support you. So listen, I'm putting the discount out right now. It's a lefthook.substack.com/discount. It's to the new year.
Yeah.
There's no paywalls, but if you enjoy watching this conversation, $38 a year, folks. It's as cheap as I can make it. I got a whole bunch of kids. And my dad is really happy because he's like, finally, you're asking people to support you. So if you can, give some money. If not, that's okay. Support Allison and also then support Lev. And Lev, shamelessly promote yourself, sir.
Well, first of all, I want to say definitely for that money, everybody better support Waj. There's nobody out there working harder. He's out there almost 24 hours. Every time I go on Substack, I see Waj and the interviews that he has. He brings everybody on. And so definitely I'm going to go out there and also support you today, Waj. But for me, today I'm going to ask you something different. And I want to ask you on behalf of the people of Ukraine, because what's going on there, we haven't had time to talk about. There's a lot of also
Yeah,
news breaking with that. Ukraine is being sold out.
absolutely.
The city of Odessa, where I was born, right now is pure darkness. They have no lights, they have no water, they have no electricity. It's a terrible thing that's happening there. We have a community called Voice from Ukraine. My cousin Alex, he's been in Ukraine. He lives in Ukraine. He's been there from the beginning of the war. We've helped the Howard Buffett Foundation, and we've helped Global Empowerment Mission. And right now we're doing a grassroots mission. And something amazing happened yesterday, the past couple of days, from God's help. We were able to secure 40 generators, folks.
Oh, that's
40
great. That's
generators
great.
that you cannot get anywhere else. They're on their way to Odessa, Ukraine. I know there's a GoFundMe people are putting up there for those generators, folks. There, go do it. The people need it more than anything, because it's food, it's light, it's water. It's 40 generators that I can't believe that they even got. And the first, I think, 2-3 of them already are going on their way to Odessa for people to help. So on behalf of them, if you can, for the holidays, they need it more than me or us right now. People in the Middle East, wherever you can, because with all these wars that we have going on, there's a lot of people that need it. And I know it's difficult. So do your best, do your can wherever you can. God bless all of you. And if I don't see you on here, Waj, happy holidays. But I'm sure we'll go on before the holidays. There's so much going on. So
Yeah, there's a yeah, I said to Allison, happy holidays. She goes, come on, man. I know we're going to talk one more time at least. So probably we'll talk at least one more time before we take a much needed rest for the holidays. But that's really good news about Ukraine. And
yeah,
folks,
great.
to end on this note, yeah, I know there's a lot. Uh, you could juggle, and if you can't juggle all of it, we could at least be kind. There's Ukrainians are being occupied right now, and they're fighting occupation. Palestinians are fighting occupation. Venezuelans are literally being murdered by this administration. Immigrants are being hounded. Allies of immigrants are being shot with tear gas, including priests. So I know it might be a lot, but try your best to, at least, even if you can't juggle all of it mentally, there's no limit on kindness. There's no limit on empathy. There's no limit on prayer and good wills and vibe. So do what you can and support, and don't forget the Ukrainian people right now. And this Trump administration is openly, shamelessly, nakedly throwing Ukrainians and our European allies under the bus to make money with Russia. And if you don't believe me, follow Lev and learn about a guy called Steve Witkoff and follow the money trail. And it's all there for you. It's disgusting, it's sick, it's corrupt, but there's more of us than there are of them, folks. Lev, thanks so much for texting me. I appreciate it. Everyone else, I might be on later tonight. I don't know. I did like 5 yesterday. I did 2 today, and I got to take my kiddos to appointments. So if I'm not back on today, I apologize. But it's good to go off on a big note with 3,600 people watching. It was a really fantastic conversation. I know people are joining us late. We really broke down this Vanity Fair piece on Susan Wiles, but not just what's in the story, what's happening behind the scenes. And I appreciate Lev joining us, and also Allison. All right, buddy, take care, man.
Thank you, brother. Have a great day. Go take care of the kids.
Bye.